For a long time, it was universally accepted by most that the scariest and most dominant season by a player in football history was Cristiano Ronaldo's 2007 to 2008 season, where the Portuguese star was on fire, scoring 44 goals in 51 matches. It was a bizarrely scary season until a certain Argentine entered the conversation years later, making Cristiano Ronaldo's 2007 to 2008 season heavily questioned as to whether it was truly the most dominant. The extraterrestrial season was so dominant that it redefined the concept of an exceptional player and set an almost unbreakable record in football history. Lionel Messi broke football. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is super important for the channel, so give it a thumbs up and let's go. With his 2011 to 2012 season, making it the most insane and dominant season in the history of the sport. We constantly see high-scoring seasons from various stars around the world. We then had Robert Lewandowski in the 2020 to 2021 season, where he was simply the top scorer in the world, scoring a ton of goals and impressing everyone. There was also Haaland in the 2022 to 2023 season, when he arrived at City and simply destroyed everything, becoming the top scorer in all competitions, including being recognized worldwide and nominated for the Ballon d'Or, but not winning it. All these seasons seem easy compared to what Messi did in the 2011 season, when he scored 91 goals in a single year, solidifying himself as the most bizarre and terrifying force in football, making any other player seem small in comparison. But not only was that season magical, his future seasons in peak form were also incredible, being to this day the most frightening peak in football, though not the greatest in history. That's a discussion for another video. The 2010 to 2011 season was a very good one for Messi, a season of rising and cementing the Argentine star's legacy. The world kind of already knew Messi's abilities, but they were still not ready to see more. It's no wonder that the Argentine star had already won the Ballon d'Or in the 2008 to 2009 season, but there was still some doubt among people, a question in their minds. Could Messi one day surpass his other seasons, or would he just fade away over time after winning the Ballon d'Or? Believe it or not, neither you, nor I, nor even Messi himself could have imagined what he was about to do in that season. And that year, he was already one of Barcelona's key players, though not the main one, as the midfield duo of Xavi and Iniesta still held that title. But Messi was already something else. In a short time, he solidified himself as an undisputed starter for Barcelona, which honestly played the best and most beautiful football in all of Europe. The entire Barcelona team revolved around four names: Xavi Hernandez, Iniesta, Pep Guardiola, and Lionel Messi. Under the bald-headed coach's leadership, Barcelona won La Liga and the Champions League. Messi was already one of the standouts, scoring an incredible 53 goals that season, which, if we look at it today, is pretty much what Haaland did in the 2022 to 2023 season. Messi was then nominated for the Ballon d'Or, which he won with relative ease, cementing his position as the best player in the world. The prophecy was already written, and the football gods already knew who would become the second greatest player in football history. At that time, Pep Guardiola said what could be considered the most outrageous words, which might have sounded like a joke. The bald-headed coach said that whoever had Messi on their team would simply win everything and never go through a dry spell. He wasn't lying, and his words, which seemed like just a bluff at the time, became true in the following season, where Messi showed the world that he was the best player in the world, the most decisive and the most brilliant in recent years. He entered that season as one of the greatest geniuses in football history, surpassing great legends of the past like Zinedine Zidane, Ruud Gullit, and Roberto Baggio. Messi's start to the season was impressive, and it was just a taste of what was to come. He had an outstanding performance in the Spanish Super Cup against Barcelona's biggest rival, Real Madrid. He scored 3 goals in 2 games, 2 at Camp Nou and 1 at Santiago Bernabeu, helping Barcelona win with an aggregate score of 5-4. This performance showed that Pep Guardiola wasn't lying when he said that whoever had Messi on their team would be the one to win matches. These games against Real Madrid not only demonstrated his goal-scoring ability, but also his genius. His decision-making power impressed even the most bald-headed of coaches, and as Guardiola said, there was the god of football. The man was on fire, and game after game, he proved that he was indeed the best in the world at that time. On September 24, 2011, Messi scored a hat-trick in a 5-0 victory against Atletico Madrid at Camp Nou. The man didn't stop, scoring 4 against Valencia and 3 more against Malaga. It was total dominance. He was the team's top scorer and a complete football wizard. The plays were insane, like something out of a dream, and Lionel Messi's fire spread beyond La Liga and the other Spanish competitions to the Champions League, the main competition in Europe, and the most important on the European and global stage. On March 7, 2012, Messi scored 5 goals in a 7-1 victory against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League round of 16, becoming the first player to score 5 goals in a single knockout stage match. This feat was later equaled by Haaland, but only after 10 years. The record stood strong, and no one has broken it to this day. Of course, Haaland had the chance to break it in that match, but Pep Guardiola ended up preserving his beloved Messi's record by substituting Haaland out in the game against RB Leipzig, where Manchester City won 7-0. Messi also scored 2 goals in the 3-3 draw against Milan in the group stage, and another 2 in the quarterfinals, helping Barcelona advance to the semifinals, my friends. There were so many goals that it drove you crazy. The most impressive part was that most of these goals came in the middle to the end of the season, when players are usually very tired and exhausted. Especially Messi, who played every single game of the season for Barcelona. Looking at it today, it seems a bit crazy, right? Players need rest to be at their best on the field. But Messi isn't from this world. He took good care of his physical condition throughout the season, as well as his mental state, to play every game and still maintain an impressive physical and mental level. The world was already in awe. Messi was a top scorer everywhere, but he didn't stop. It was goal after goal, and he quickly showed that he was on fire and wasn't going to stop there. Cristiano Ronaldo? Well, the Portuguese star was left behind this time, like a kid chasing candy. He couldn't catch up to Messi in any way. But don't worry, folks, because soon enough we'll make a video about the Robozeo too, maybe even a better one than this. In the end, Messi scored 73 goals in 60 games for Barcelona in all competitions during the 2011 to 2012 season. This included 50 goals in La Liga, making him the league's top scorer. However, Barcelona ended up falling short in La Liga and the Champions League, where Real Madrid achieved an incredible 100 points in La Liga, and Guardiola was outclassed tactically by Chelsea in the Champions League, getting knocked out in the semifinals by the Blues, who went on to the final. Speaking of Pep Guardiola, it was his last season at Barcelona, and he wanted to prove his greatness, but ended up losing almost everything, winning only the Copa del Rey against Athletic Bilbao. Besides the goals, Messi also provided numerous assists for his teammates, highlighting his ability as a playmaker. He delivered no fewer than 22 assists. Every time Pep Guardiola scratched his bald head, still holding on to some hair back then, Messi would deliver another assist to his teammates, including decisive ones that only a football genius like Lionel Messi could provide. For the national team, the man was crazy too. He scored 13 goals, making him the top scorer in the world, breaking a long-standing record that hadn't been touched for years. The record of Gerd Müller, who had scored 85 goals, was initially the main choice for this video. But after some rethinking, my team and I agreed that Messi's season was much more impactful for the football world, especially since it was more recent. In the end, Messi scored 91 goals in 1 year, an unbreakable record to this day, which entered the Guinness Book and made him the true GOAT of the world. Messi's average rating in several matches reached an incredible 9.9, a historic achievement that made him one of the first players to hit such a high level. Not only did Messi elevate his personal performance to the maximum, but he also raised the level of his teammates, who also put up crazy numbers. Players like Xavi and Iniesta, who consistently provided assists and played incredible football, were lifted by Messi's presence. He took the entire Barcelona team to another level. The team had to keep up with Messi's exponential growth throughout the matches. Guardiola even gave an interview at the time, saying that Messi elevated the technical quality of the team because he had a mind that few could keep up with. It was a somewhat perfect farewell for the bald coach, even though he didn't win the Champions League or La Liga. I think Messi's most memorable game that year was when he scored 5 goals against Bayer Leverkusen, making history and setting a record that is practically unbreakable to this day. Although I think Haaland might go after that record soon, especially with the new Champions League format. Not to mention the El Clásicos, where Messi destroyed Real Madrid, not letting them touch the ball. To top off the perfect season of his career, the alien still won the Ballon d'Or without much difficulty, and without any doubts either. That year, no one in the world was better than Messi. The 2011 season was incredible, and it was living proof that today's players don't quite measure up. Simply the perfect season, and the best season in football history. a complete dominance that cemented Lionel Messi as the greatest player in the history of the sport. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming curiosities and documentaries about your favorite players. I'm always here sharing everything about these legends of world football, and your participation is essential. So leave your opinion in the comments and suggest the next legend you want to see in the next video. It really helps the channel. A big hug, and see you next time